Well, I guess we'll just get this started, this weird digital format that we're in these days. I want to thank Alessio and Antonio for bringing us together. This was supposed to be part of a great music festival in Tuscany, and ideally, we'd be hearing some incredible music tonight and then getting some incredible food, maybe some wine, you know, staying up late. But actually, we're just here on our laptops talking to each other. This is the new world. So I wanted to, I think essentially this talk is meant to bring comfort and inspiration to the audience that will be there for the music. And we're just incredibly honored to have both of you, Francis and Joshua, two incredible artists and creators. I wanted to start just by asking how you're staying sane. What are you turning to in your daily life during these quarantine weeks to kind of keep on an even keel, whether it be wine and cooking or old films or music that you love? What's keeping you, you know, from going nuts?
Well, from my part, I'm much older than either of you, so that my life has already been in a mode somewhat similar to this. I live in a beautiful place in nature, which is the inspiration for all creativity.
Yeah.
And I'm writing and reading and thinking and you know, I lost a lot of weight recently, so I've always enjoyed cooking, but now I'm sort of cooking a more sensible kind of diet and not diet, but a type of food. I'm emphasizing, you know, I'm certainly de-emphasizing carbohydrates, and I don't drink wine every day, but I do look forward to drinking it one day a week, and I'm blessed to be surrounded by all my kids and all their kids. So all in all, on this property, just like the one in Westchester, except I'm here with roughly 24 people, and 8 of them being little kids, and my daughter and her husband and my son and his wife and some nephews and their children. And so it's you know, we very much realize how lucky and privileged we are to live in the country in a situation that enables everyone to more or less have their own homes on the properties. But we see each other, and yesterday was of course Bastille Day, but there was also the birthday of a little 7-year-old grandson. So we had a beautiful, it's all birthday parties and kids having fun, and we do sort of family film festival.
What have you been watching? I can't help it.
Well, we've watched, the last film we saw was a Kurosawa film. Tonight we're going to see a Ozu film.
Amazing.
We saw Vida's Ashes and Diamonds. We saw Polanski's Cul-de-sac. So it's a range of movies all over the map. But we're all very aware how lucky we are, and conscious of how a lot of other people are forced to be in very confined and difficult circumstances, and our hearts go out to them, and we try to be of the best help we can.
In terms of the blessings of time, Joshua, how about you? Is there music that you've turned to for that sort of nourishment that you found, particularly being stuck at home, yourself just listening for pleasure?
Well, first of all, I have for the last 35 years, I have been on the road more than 200 days a year. You know, and since I was 16 years old, my lifestyle was just go without really being in any place more than a few days. I know Maestro Coppola has traveled a lot, but I'm sure, but when he makes a film, at least he gets to stay somewhere for at least a few days. So I've always been on the run, and when this took hold, and I was faced with the prospect of not traveling, all of a sudden everything canceled for the next 6 months. All my concerts, I actually didn't know how I would react. I thought I might go crazy. I didn't know if I could even handle it, and as it turns out, it's been kind of a revelation, you know. And I'm always hesitant to extol the blessings of the silver linings, because there's been so much tragedy, and I've even lost more than one friend actually to the disease that we're suffering from. But I have to say, there have been some amazing silver linings from this, that I think I've told everyone that I talk to about this, that's what they have to look for, find their own silver linings. I told myself at the end of this, whenever this ends, I want to be able to look back and know that I've used this time in a way that I would not have been able to do otherwise. And that's really what I've done. First of all, I recently got married in October, so it was an interesting way to get to. I mean, I've been together with my wife for 8 years, but never cooped up together for 4 months straight. And it turns out it's been incredible. And I have 3 kids as well that I'm getting to see every week and on a regular basis, which never happened before, and may never would have happened in the way that it's happened. I've had this time just to introspect, to go out on my basketball court and play every day an hour and a half of just shooting baskets and setting goals for myself, to shoot 20 baskets in a row without making a mistake. That's like a goal for the day, things like that, which sound trivial, but having this time, I feel like I've even grown as an artist. When I go back to music, I feel like there's just less of this panicked feeling that my life is always going on and on. And I feel like I've actually grown in many ways. You asked about the music I turn to. For me, it's been Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, which is for the violin. It's sort of the Bible. The solo sonatas and partitas of Bach are sort of the holy Bible for us. We don't even perform them so often in public, so much as it's because it's a solo. They're incredibly difficult, and it's for violin solo. And usually I have other instruments around, and it's not appropriate. But every day I start the day with Bach, and for me, Bach is the thing that connects me to the universe. To sound a little corny to put it that way, or God, if you want to put it that way. I'm not a religious person, but for me, it takes me to that place that is very comforting, and especially with all that's going on with politics and things like that, which is so ugly. Bach is the cleanest and most beautiful of all composers. And so I've spent a lot of time playing solo Bach.
And you're going to be
having this time of having time and opportunity. Have there been other composers that you were not as familiar with, but that suddenly you realize were there and have provided some new dimensions to you?
Absolutely. It's more that there were things on my bucket list that I thought one day I'll get around to learning. For instance, there's another composer that wrote solo sonatas. His name is Eugène Ysaÿe. He was the teacher of my teacher. And there are 6 amazing sonatas that I had done 3 of them, but the other 3 I thought I'll get around to them at some point. And now here I had some time and I started delving into them and exploring them. And it's amazing to explore music just for the sake of my own spirit. So I don't want to use the word spiritual, but nourishment. I guess spiritual nourishment, rather than I've got a concert coming next week, I've got to do Tchaikovsky and I got to do Beethoven and I got to do this. Just surviving by the skin of my teeth because I put upon myself 150 concerts in a year, which is probably way too much. And I may never go back to that now. After having this space and time, I don't think I will ever go back to that kind of crazy schedule for it.
Now, Francis, your grandfather was a composer, if I remember.
No, my father. We're very united because my family were pretty much all classical musicians. My father was the solo flute for the NBC Symphony under Arturo Toscanini, but he was a very studied musician and composer, conductor, and my uncle was an operatic conductor. So I was raised in a classical music. My other uncle on my other side was the first trumpet for the NBC Symphony, and my first cousin, or I guess my mother's first cousin, so that would be, is Riccardo Muti, who is the famous Italian conductor. So
let me just say that we have some connections here. First of all, Riccardo Muti, I made my professional debut in 1981 when I was 14 years old with Riccardo Muti in the Philadelphia Orchestra. He was my first major conductor I ever worked with.
Yeah, he's an extraordinary musician, and he was a side of a prodigy. When I was younger, I heard, oh, there's this kid in Italy, in Naples. He's 14, and he's very talented, and maybe someone of your family could be of help. And my father said, every kid with short pants who plays the piano is a genius, and that was Riccardo Muti.
That's neat. And my teacher, Joseph Gingold, who passed away many, many years ago, he was a member of the NBC Symphony under Toscanini. So I grew up hearing stories about, as a 12-year-old, from my teacher about Toscanini and the NBC Symphony.
I tell you a funny story that I remember, because I had a sort of a girlfriend. She was a nice girl, as I remember, very young. And her father was a violinist in the NBC Symphony. And I remember one day her family were out of town and we got to go to her house. And she pulled a chair up to the closet and she reached up high and did something. And then she brought down a violin and put it in my hands. And she said, look, a Stradivarius. And I looked at this in my hand, and as I was looking in wonder, she reached up and brought another violin down, said, look, another.
Yeah, now, I mean, first of all, there are only about 400 in the world to go around, so not everybody can have one, but I only have one. I can't say I have two in my closet. But my Stradivari was made in 1713, and why is it that all these great instruments, the Strads and the Guarneris, that they were all sort of made in the same region in Cremona, Italy, and some other cities in the area, which of course brings us back to Italy. I think all of one of our favorite place on earth. I love Italy. My violin comes from there, and I was looking forward to coming to this festival, the Incontri festival, where I've been before. And it's a fantastic festival and a great celebration of music and food, which is like you all, food is I think after music, food is probably my second passion, and film is up there, way up there as well.
Is there a certain composer, Francis, that you've been turning to, that you've been listening to a lot?
Well, I have. Of course, I love Brahms.
Yeah.
Brahms is extraordinary. I love, I showed all my kids the movie of Amadeus so that they could, all I know is in the morning, if I listen to Mozart, I feel very happy, and I'm ready to attack the day with positive feelings. I don't know what magic he does that achieves that for me, but my father, I always used to say to my father, listen to the Beatles and listen to this. Look, they use the cello, Dad, you'll like it. And he says, there was such a man as Beethoven. It was his stock reply. So, I mean, we have greats. I love the Russians. I love Borodin. I love Poulenc. I love Stravinsky. I love, all over the range of 12-tone and not 12-tone and modern, and we have such a wonderful human heritage in music that's extraordinary, and that's only in Western music. I mean, it exists all in every possible field. And but the great debate always that I have that I love to listen to is when they talk about who is greater, Verdi or Wagner. That's a good one.
What's your answer?
Well, I know my opinion, but Wagner's an interesting case. Wagner really wanted to be a poet, along the lines of a Shakespeare, and he learned composition out of a book. He got a book on how to write music. I read the Wagner biography. He talks about it, and he taught himself to be a composer, which is an extraordinary thing. I'm a great admirer of Wagner, but I would have to say, in answer to that question, and of course you do it from different points of view, who contributed in a way that was new, that changed the opera. Of course, both of them did, but I guess I vote on the side of Verdi. I love The Ring, though. I mean, I love Wagner. What am I talking about? Tristan and Isolde is beautiful, and I love Verdi too. I mean, it's so absurd to talk about who's greater than someone else. I mean, they talk about movies and they say, what are the 10 greatest movies? I say, you kidding? Ask me what the 300 greatest movies are, and then there'll be others that should be on the list.
Okay, but my wife is always saying, why do we have to watch The Godfather Part 2 again? Because in my household, I want to watch it basically every night, Francis. I'm just being honest with you.
Well, God knows how sometimes you get lucky. But no, I love Borodin. I love the Russians. I love Franz Liszt. Talk about Wagner. I mean, you hear a lot of early Wagner in Franz Liszt.
Absolutely.
So we have time for one more thing.
Richard Strauss, I like. They said to him, "Are you a great composer?" He says, "I'm a second-rate great composer." Richard Strauss says, "But I'm a first-rate, second-rate."
That's a good place to be.
That's where I want to be. I just want to be one of the group.
I just want to be invited, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to be one of the group. That's why I used to say to my father, who went through Great Depression, I said, "Dad, let's face it, you're not the greatest composer who ever lived. There was such a man as Beethoven. There was such a man as Bach. There was such a man as Beethoven." I said, but you're not the worst composer either. You're somewhere between the greatest and the worst, which is in the group.
In the group, yeah.
Hello friends, it's Joshua Bell and greetings from my house in New York. I have such fond memories of my time at the Incontri Festival in 2017. I so loved the atmosphere, the audiences, the food of course, and most importantly the great music making that one can hear there. I so enjoyed playing with my friend Alessio Bax and the other incredible musicians. I do hope to come back very, very soon, but in the meantime, here's a little musical offering from my home. Take care.
Well, I have to let you guys go. We could talk all day. Maybe we should just meet every day and have these talks.
We should talk a little about. We've got to talk about wine because I have to sell it.
Tell us more. Hey, I can always talk about wine.
We're thrilled with the wine. In the last 7 years, our winemaker, after I engaged him, was offered the opportunity to be the gérant, or the head general manager of Chateau Margaux, which is which is one of the great wines we look up to. And I, of course, was terrified that I was going to lose him, but he said he would only take the job at Chateau Margaux as general manager if he could work on both sides of the ocean. So he is still our winemaker, comes here 6 times a year, and it's the only time in history that the winemaker of a Napa Valley wine also makes a first growth Bordeaux wine. So
amazing.
So it's we're in our period of ascent.
Right on. Well,
Jeff, I feel like I didn't get to hear you speak enough about food.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
You don't need to hear from me. I'm just honored to talk to you guys. So,
did you ever see a show called Mozart in the Jungle?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I was on that show. I made 3 or 4 cameos. The very first scene of the whole series, I was playing Tchaikovsky Concerto in concert on that show.
Well, that was produced and directed by my son and nephew.
Oh, right. So then, okay, that's okay, right. So
and there's one show that's just really wonderful, is when the orchestra in that show goes and plays for the prisoners at Rikers Island, which they really did, and they play, I think, Poulenc or something, and my son said that the prisoners who had never heard music like that were utterly transformed. If you can catch that show, it was very, very worthwhile.
Right on.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Stay safe,
everyone. Good health, happiness to all of you, and beautiful. Enjoy the beautiful art. And one thing about this pandemic is good. No one talks about how much money they're worth. They just talk about what beauty they're experiencing, and if their family and the people they love are okay. And that's a good trend.
That's true. Thank you for that. We hope we'll see you in the real world soon.
Yes, hope so.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.